Hello, welcome to another episode of the Lucky Clover Podcast, episode 3. I'm Austin Pegram along with co-host Aaron and Matt. So, a lot of developments from what was a pretty uneventful second half of the offseason to down atrocious. Really in a matter of like less than a month.
It's a few days.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if we're going
Well,
back a month to the
flips.
Gallinari injury,
right.
Sure,
It's
sure.
just the way
they,
it works in the Celtics life is like it's just like a little snowball, and then it goes down the hill, and it eventually becomes this gigantic fucking
Avalanche.
avalanche that
Yeah.
destroys everything. But it literally, I'm pretty sure all the news of what we're gonna talk about literally started on Wednesday and was wrapped up in like 24 hours. It's just the
Very
craziest,
true.
Yeah.
craziest
So
flip of events.
it's so funny. Like you guys, I literally I'm sleeping, right? And I wake up an hour before I have to get up for work because this happens every fucking day. And then I just see your text in the group chat. What's going on with Ime? And
Yep.
then right from there, I'm like, oh yeah, let me check Twitter. I get on Twitter. Boom. Ime. Okay, so the first tweet apparently was something like Ime is facing possible suspension for violating like conduct of like the Celtics organization, something like that.
And they
And
said, I
then
think we quickly said it might be a full year. I think it was like,
yeah,
they didn't
yeah,
say it was going to be for sure, but it's thrown out like nearly fast.
Yeah.
I have a nice little paragraph about the whole thing if you want me to say that right now.
sure thing. Go ahead.
It says on September 22nd, the Celtics suspended Ime Udoka for the entirety of the 2022-23 season for violations of team policies. The violation was for engaging in an improper, intimate relationship with a female Celtics staff member. Though the relationship was originally believed by the organization to be consensual, the woman later accused Udoka of making unwanted comments towards her, which that's pretty much fluff language for sexual harassment. Udoka issued an apology after the suspension was handed out. He chose not to resign as a result of the violation, though Adrian Wojnarowski reported that Udoka is not guaranteed to stay. And assistant coach Joe Mazzulla from Johnson, Rhode Island, shout out Rhode Island, is taken his place as the interim head coach. So, yeah,
That's how we got to. And Austin, it started, but it started like you said. It started just as
Yeah, no,
like
it
he's
was
like something's happening.
yeah, exactly. It was like something's
right.
happening pretty much. He's facing a long-term suspension or a pretty decent, chunk of time for suspension. And then it was like, oh, he has a consensual relationship with a female staffer on the Celtics. So when you see that in the headlines, kind of like, okay, I mean, fuckboy vibes if he's still
Right.
engaged to Nia Long, but it's consensual, so I don't see the total problem here.
Because whenever you see that, you think the Celtics don't care about Ime cheating on Nia Long.
Yeah, that's his
It's
personal
something with like
business.
it's
I mean,
workplace violation. So when I saw that, I was just like, and I also when everything came out, I was like, why is this such a big deal? And then in hindsight, after I got more information, I understood like the way the NBA works and the way they deal with news is what we receive is like a sprinkled version of probably what actually happened. At least
sure.
that's how I see it. Like they're definitely undermining the way things were happening initially. And then now all this stuff is coming out about these unwarranted comments. And I don't know, but if you guys saw this, but someone tweeted that the reason that so the lady that Madoka was having this like I guess you can call it affair with, her boyfriend or husband
Found out
caught them through the
like a ring camera or some shit like that.
yeah
Like,
like the doorbell
crazy.
cameras or whatever. Like he overheard a conversation. So yeah, like all this stuff comes out now. So like initially I was very naive and thinking,
Yeah,
yo, like this is harsh, whatever. But in my opinion, the suspension is deserved. And at the end of the day, you gotta just be pissed at Ime. Like you just have to be pissed at him, in my opinion.
well, I mean,
as
yeah,
a
I mean,
as a fan and as a human being, he's just it's like unwanted comments like you should like he shouldn't have been like first of all like like to be honest, like they later stated like it came out that the Celtics have known since July, and they know it because like they said they've known since July, but because the problem was not they said like that's like he should not be in a relationship with someone who walks under him. And to be honest, 90% of the people that on the Celtics organization walk under him. He's the head coach. He's the head coach. He's one of the faces of that organization. So it's a little uncomfortable. It's like you have, even if like the woman is interested, whatever would happen, like it's still a weird dynamic considering he's got a ton of power in the organization. So it was definitely weird to begin with. But
because
like they said, the July, I mean, the fact they knew they were fine with it to an extent, so they've known since July, but the punishment didn't come till now because the unwanted advances, now we get a law firm like doing more research. So definitely like it's not just like cheating on his wife, which is screwed up.
And you can even make an argument like before, it was reported about the unwanted comments is like a relationship like this really consensual because of the level,
Right.
because it's, being
dynamics.
higher up in the organization. That's a whole conversation within itself, but it's just it's crazy how in a matter of a week, it's, the off season, we went from this first half, man, we just got these, we got these great off signing additions, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, Gallinari goes down, and then all of a sudden Rob needs surgery. We'll get into that later. And then now Ime, your leader amongst men who, a lot of these players looked up to, and, that's kind of the nerve-wracking part is how they took this suspension. Because we haven't heard from them yet. Obviously, we'll hear from them tomorrow. It's media day, but these guys, they vouched for him when Brad Stevens was going for the hiring process. They were like, "We like this guy. We work Tatum and Brown and Smart worked with him in Team USA that one year. They vouched for him. Obviously, the first season of him coaching started off rough, but it ended up going really well. And all of a sudden, he's gone for a whole year." And
it doesn't feel real. Like it actually like does like I feel like it's not gonna hit until the Celtics actually come on and you see Joe Mazzulla telling Jason Tatum what to do. And like, sorry, I don't know if you're gonna keep going, but for me, it's like, actually, I don't know what I was gonna say. Just keep going.
No, you're good. I mean, just boneheaded move by Ime.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we don't have to say this for the people listening. I mean, cheating. If you're cheating, just you already know, just scumbag. But we're not going to get into.
Here's the
that,
thing.
But
his thing is that it's really bad. When I knew it was really bad was when Matt Bones took his it was indefensive and took his comments out. And this is a guy who, like, I'm not saying Matt Bones is like a bad person, but he is a podcast with Steven Jackson who had a litany of controversies around like anti-Semitism and like support for Deshaun Jackson when he quoted Hitler. That was the whole thing. And Matt Bones was with him. Like Matt Bones didn't like agree with him, but Matt Bones like didn't stuck by him because Matt Bones like has a higher threshold of what he deems is fucked up. And the fact that he was like, this is way worse than
it's like 100 times he said worse than what you guys think.
Matt Barnes is the type of guy to be like cheating on your goals wrong, but like it's the NBA where a lot of these guys feel like this woman throwing themselves out. So some of these guys don't find cheating to be the same level as I would say the average person. But Matt Barnes, it doesn't matter what Matt Barnes thought this was really bad, which is to me is a testament to this is something that was needed to be punished and they needed it. And maybe honestly they didn't want to fire him because they were hoping he was going to resign. But either way, that's a whole other subject. But they're gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him. He's not. I mean, he wasn't going to resign. He might want to stay with Celtics. He also might. This is also like we're paying him a good amount of money. If he quits, he loses out on his contract. But
yeah, I think that's kind of how they're trying to settle it right now. It's like getting it to where the suspension. Like I don't think he's coming back. I mean, I think if this thing is apparently as bad as people say it is, or at least Matt Barnes says it is, and then the unwanted comments, whatever that is, we can maybe assume some type harassment.
Something bad.
I don't think Ime's coming back because I mean, even if he did, I mean, how's that going to look? I mean,
the stench is there.
And
what does that say about the Boston Celtics, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna probably find out even more details, in the coming months or something like that. Not looking forward to that because I don't really want to know what he did, but you already know that eventually it's gonna get leaked out. But all we know is that he was in the wrong and he's most likely gone. He's not going to be coaching for the Celtics again, which is highly unfortunate, but obviously
he was good at his job.
He was good at his job, but in terms of being a role model for these young men coming out of college, you want somebody who,
you don't want to.
Exactly. You don't want a possible sexual harasser or, harasser in general.
Like,
just pretty much someone who's not a great example for these young men on the team. And, if it's really that bad, like how can he come back and, these guys he's coaching look at him the same.
I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say, like, for me, it's like, all right, screw Ime. Like, it's settled. Like, he's suspended, probably not coming back, whatever. What matters now is the players and how they're going to react to this. Because Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, they're coming back. Like, we need to focus on the season now. And Austin, you brought it up earlier. There has not been that much talk, like, at all from the players' perspective on this stuff. Like, Jaylen Brown was at the freaking, like, Penn State football game, like, posting, having a great time. Okay. Like, oh, sorry, you got something for me?
No, it was just funny you brought up Jaylen Brown because he liked the tweet, and I'm looking it up now. He liked some tweet that
I think I saw this on my timeline.
Kyrie's tweet.
No, not Kyrie's tweet. That's he liked some other person's tweet, and it said, and this was like after the Ime, this was like kind of pretty soon after the Ime news dropped, and the tweet says, "When you think everything is falling apart, boy, when I tell you everything is falling into place." I don't know what the hell that means. Jaylen Brown is, he's starting to get really cryptic with his tweets now and everything. I mean, he's been hanging out with Kyrie and Kanye, so that going down that path, I'm not even going to talk about it, but we have no idea what the players are thinking, like you said, Matt.
It's so frustrating because I felt at least for me, from an outsider looking in, it felt like we finally had a coach that understood the type of discipline these players needed.
That could motivate them.
Yeah, and how they should be taught. Because I felt like Brad really wasn't that guy, but we finally found someone that, like, who could talk to these guys and get into their heads and motivate them. And now we lose that guy, and it's worth losing him because we don't need someone like that in our organization. But it's like, how the hell do we replace that hole? Because let's face it, it's despite what he did, coaching wise, it's a big gap to fill. And I wonder what the goal is now. Like, how long are we going to ride with Joe Mazzulla? Like, he's never coached pro NBA in his never coached NBA in his entire life. He was a summer league coach, but he's never coached, in the NBA, and now we're throwing him on the Celtics team who's projected to come out of the East. It's like,
that's a big role to step into. I mean, Ime was literally like, you're talking about a huge voice of pretty much the face, not the face of I guess kind of like the main speaker for the organ. Yeah. One of the faces of the organization.
Him and Brad.
And you're asking someone who has little to no experience in head coaching role in general to step into these
even
shoes.
More than that.
Yeah. Wait, what, Aaron?
It's even more than that because I think we're also not talking about enough about the fact that these kind of things, they hold over your heads. You're gonna get it. Even if the reporters will ask it for at least a month. They'll be like, and have you talked to also Udoka? And they'll be like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And even if the reporters don't, there's never been a locker room that is really like not negatively affected by these outside news. It's like sometimes it's outside news that two of the players are fighting, even if they're not. Even that kind of makes the locker room like weird. But like when there's a like you said, one of the faces of the organization that you what was your head coach like just a month ago is now not just fired, which firing head coaches can often be like a point of turmoil because now you're finding everyone has to find their new footing with this new guy. But it's not just that; it's a huge controversy around this. So it just creates like for the players, like it's gonna like it will create distractions. There's rarely have you had these kind of situations not turn into what ends up being like media fiascos. And honestly, like that, like in athletics, in any sports, in any professional sports, your head in the game is like a huge part of it. That like playing, like you can be as talented as you want, but if your head's not in the game, and this will get in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it's tough because, a lot of times the season before Ime got here, the last season with Brad Stevens at coach, in halfway through Ime's first season as a coach, it was so hard for these guys to kind of try to find motivation like night in and night out. I'm sure you guys can agree. Like,
oh my God.
And we finally got that with, and we finally got that with Ime. Like these guys, he was able to actually reach through these people or reach through to the players, excuse me. And I'm not saying there's nobody on the planet there's no coach on the planet that can, do the same job as Ime, but now it's like, I wouldn't say you're starting at like, you're starting at like all the way at the beginning again, but I mean, you're
taking a step back.
You've taken a pretty decent step back.
For sure.
When this is a year you're supposed to be competing for a championship.
It's just crazy. Like Ime didn't have like anything on his record. Like I was listening to the Brad Stevens press conference. Like there was nothing that would have hindered Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is not an idiot. There was nothing that was hindering him from hiring Udoka. And like it's just I actually, bro, the more I talk about it, it literally drives me insane. And I wonder now like what the expectations are for the season. Like I still think that we should be like a top 4 team in the East, even with an interim coach. Like we've seen new coaches come. I mean, we saw Udoka come in first time, go to NBA Finals. Didn't Nick Nurse come in after Dwayne Casey got fired and take the Raptors to the finals and win?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that his first season? Like we've seen coaches do it. So maybe we need to be like a little more like positive. We still have one of the like a top 3 roster in the league. I personally think we can still get like a top 4 seed. And then when it comes down to playoffs, like it's anybody's game and we have players that have been there before. So I still feel optimistic. Sure. It's just a mental blow that we're going to have to get over.
For sure.
Yeah. Cause it's like, with the injury stuff and then this Ime thing, it's like, at what point does, this, some people are like, they'll use it as motivation, to kind of deal with all the adversity and to still want to perform. And it's like, at what point does motivation become just straight up adversity,
Right.
Like,
for sure.
So, I mean, I think the good thing about, Joe Mazzulla coaching or being the interim coach for the Celtics is that, I know there's been a clip going around, of Tatum. It was an interview from the finals. He's giving high praise about Joe Mazzulla and how he's really helped him develop as a player and how he really appreciates his time here. So the fact that you have Tatum's approval off rip is good. I think Joe Mazzulla was hired in like 2019 or something like that. If I'm not, maybe Aaron can check for me.
I will check. There you go.
Shout out Mazzulla, man.
Yeah, he was hired in 2019 or something like that. I'm pretty sure he's been with the Celtics even before Udoka got here. And the players think highly of him. So, and I'm sure, obviously he has like probably the same, playbooks and everything 2019. Okay. That Udoka had and he has the same playbooks that Udoka had and everything. So,
and he had summer league and the summer league was kind of a wagon, but you know what?
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe Mazzulla. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but he's from Johnson, which is a neighboring town of my town of Smithfield.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out Joe Mazzulla, man. Little home love for him. But honestly, like I don't know if anyone wants to add much more on Ime without us just like re-saying the same points. Like because like it was disappointing. We got Mazzulla coming up, but Austin, you did just mention injuries, so it could be a decent segue for the final blow to the head of Celtics offseason news, because we can't have, not only can we have one of our best offseason signings go down for the whole year, not only can we have our head coach go down for the whole year, but we have to have our star most likely not play, or not our star, but one of our X factors not play until the calendar year of 2023. So if someone wants to explain that for me, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, I mean, Robert Williams, apparently, so he shows up to camp. You know, we've seen pictures of him working out. I'm like, oh man, shit. What's Robin doing in the off season? He's got a little mid range. You know, he's got a little.
How's he looking?
Yeah, how's he looking? Has he been in the lab? He's got a baby hook. You know what I'm saying? Like he got a Kareem us, you know, and shit. Mm-hmm. A week after he shows up to the Celtics facilities, it's boom. He's got to get surgery again, and I'm like, pardon the fuck, like what? Yeah. You know, I thought the summer had cleared this up. I thought obviously, if you had been watching the finals, if you had been watching the Celtics and you were watching the finals, you knew Robert Williams didn't look right. Like he was playing through pain. He wasn't fully healthy. He wasn't able to play the closing minutes of certain games, which really sucked because we could have used his defense, especially rebounding, in closing minutes of this series against the Warriors, which, because I don't know what it was. I don't know the specific numbers or stats, but like the on and off splits with him on the court were just tremendous. And like the ceiling, he raises the ceiling for this team. And at first, we see it's going to be a 4 to 6. Someone said it probably would be like 4 to 6 weeks.
It was the Celtics. It was. Bro, we have to understand now with the Ime stuff and the Rob Williams stuff, whatever they tweet is undermining what is actually happening. Like that's just what they do. Like they undersell the real impact.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 4 to 6, multiply that by 3. Well, that's literally what it is.
I don't know if it was the Celtics that said 4 to 6. Like, it was somebody that said like 4 to 6, but then the Celtics come out and tweet, actually, psych, it's going to be 8 to 12 weeks. So that's probably 8.
That's closer to.
So like
I think it was Woj who tweeted 4 to 6 like a couple months ago, and then he tweeted again 8 to 12, and then the Celtics confirmed it.
But the thing is 12 weeks. So 12 weeks from now, or when they tweeted that's going to be like what, late December, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, it's 9:25 as we record this, which means it's like, let's just say 3 months.
Yeah. But the thing about the tweet, it's not 8 to 12 weeks to play like a game. It's 8 to 12 weeks to resume basketball activities.
Yeah. No, he's gonna be gone. He's gonna be gone for until 2023. That's for
exactly, because you know what basketball activities means. They got to get the 1-on-1, they got to get the 2-on-2, the 3-on-3. It's going to be constant updates. So it's not like so people that are thinking he's going to be, maybe like 10 weeks in, he's going to come back, or 12 weeks at most, he's going to, just join the Celtics and, be in a game. Nah, bro. This is like, he's going to be out. He's probably like you just said, he's probably going to be out till 2023, maybe like mid-January 2023.
I will say that in most experiences, like going from 3v3 is not, you do not do like a whole like weeks of 3v3 to 5v5 to then the close. It's like, I don't know if our viewers have watched much baseball, but baseball, like a lot of players get down to the minors when they're rehabbing. It's like a week, like a handful of games, and like it's probably like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks for basketball, but like just add on like two like 2.5 weeks for whatever they say for basketball activities, for actual to do this basketball activities, because it's going to be because what will happen is rehab is going to be like not basketball, but still walking out with you, like especially if it's not going to affect his knee, they'll do regular workouts consistently, and then he'll like do workouts to like help his knee to the point where he can play basketball. And then once you play basketball, you can even then play like a small amount of basketball. So it's not a season-ending injury because like he's gonna have to. He'll be back, but it's a blow. It's a blow for sure.
It's definitely a blow, because starting off without him is going to be a huge challenge for this team.
So hard, bro.
Because if he had not gotten hurt, you can make a very good case that he could have gotten Defensive Player of the Year over Marcus Smart. Like, he's probably maybe not best one-on-one defender. Like, I don't know how to explain, but he's the most impactful defender on the team.
There's like 3 guys in the league that can do the things that he can do.
No, literally. Offensively,
I can't even name them. Like I don't actually know. I'm just saying, like, there's probably like 3 guys.
advanced statistics had him in one of the best players in the league. And let's be honest, the guy fell to us strictly on injury. I want to say, I'm searching as I talk, but I want to say like 24th, 19th overall pick, something that
It was
Yeah,
27.
he wasn't that
27th.
high at all. He was low. Yeah.
He was 27th, and he was in because of injury concerns. And then we signed him to a 4-year deal with 10 million a year, which is absurd. Like we're talking about Gallinari. Gallinari might have gotten 10 mil. I mean, not Gallinari, but like talking about like of six men of the year get 10 million a year. We're talking about the Miami Heat have thrown not Hero, but Miami Heat roster. It's a ridiculous contract it was strictly on this is a guy who's injury prone, and so we kind of knew this was the case, but he'd been healthy. I'm sorry, the example I'm using is Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson's getting paid 17 million a year. The guy's riding the bench. That's and he was in 17 million a year when they were paying him off of the idea that he was going to be 6-man. So we're getting Rob
Right.
Williams 10 million a year for I want to say probably the best defensive center behind maybe Gobert, and it's closer than people would imagine just because Rob is actually a really quality perimeter defender for his size. He's not like I wouldn't say he's a elite perimeter defender, but he's really solid.
And that's the sad part too, because I mean, it's such a setback not only for the team but for him in general. Because I mean, that was literally he was one of the players that I was most looking forward to seeing because I wanted to see after he healed how he developed his game over the summer. Like I wanted to see, what offensive deficiencies that he started to work on, whether it's passing, because he's an underrated passer.
Underrated passer.
Underrated passer as a big man. And and as we've seen, he has the jump shot. I mean, it's probably a little slow and he's hesitant to pull it out, but it's like a good, but it was consistent. I mean, when he would shoot it, like the motion looked good and everything. And I was really looking forward to seeing how he developed. But I mean, after this, I'm like, has he really done anything like this off season? Like, do you think? I mean, I don't. Like, was he on some sort of program with the Celtics? Like, I don't really know how this happened because, I mean, he comes back and then all of a sudden it just starts hurting. So I'm like, what was the plan for him over the offseason?
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah.
Like, what did the Celtics say to him? Like, hey, you got to rest for a little bit and then, do the, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, isn't it just kind of crazy?
The question for me is like, how do we like evaluate him going forward? Like at what point is he like just an injury prone guy that like we maybe this is gonna sound crazy, but like at what point does it become like we use him as an asset? Like how do we keep this guy if he only plays like half a year? Like do we reevaluate after next year?
I mean, that would be a question, but it would honestly, I think what will happen is it'd have to be like a pretty big gain because be honest, like there's like we saw once we had him and like, yes, like he was injury prone, but when he was healthy for the second half of the season and we got to the finals with him, and we don't get to the finals without Rob. Like, to be honest, like we don't, like we definitely would we lost the games where he wasn't playing in the games of Miami, and we won the games when he was like almost completely. So
he was still playing
like,
on one leg like the whole fucking playoffs.
And he's this weird little like his values never like I will like I do like I on paper I think I would like if we got someone who could give us that value, but the problem with like we said Matt I think it's a great idea. Just think the value is so weird because everyone's gonna treat and say everyone's gonna offer you being like we'll give you some role player because he's injury prone, and we'll be like, well, yes, he's injury prone, but like you will get like whoever has him is like has a very high chance to get a steal whenever he's playing. Mm-hmm. So like we'll never. So you either trade him and you get like 25 cents on the dollar, or you keep him and you pray that because it's like and that's a more high risk high reward because if he stays healthy, like win the championship. And to be honest, I think like we will end up seeing they'll just keep him for a while because like they could get like a good solo player, but but the chances of us making a championship without a guy like Rob Williams, it's pretty small.
No,
it's hard.
Yeah, he's an X factor, and the guys love him because of how easy it makes it for him, like on defense and on offense, just with the vertical spacing. So it's definitely really tough to see that, the recovery time for this is going to be longer than we expected.
For sure.
I'm just wondering about how his shape is going to be coming back, because I don't know how he's going to look, physically coming back whenever he does this upcoming season. Because healthy and in shape Rob can bring this team to the finals.
Absolutely.
Without that, I
sure.
say, like Eastern Conference Finals exit. Obviously, we'll have to see how the other guys have developed over this offseason. As I mentioned before, a lot of the improvements from the team are not only going to come externally, but internally as well, like growth from within the star players. That means Jalen and Jason, taking another leap this season. But yeah, Rob is one of your X factors, and going into the season without him and now without Ime, there's a lot of questions for this team, and it's going to take a lot of leadership from Tatum and Brown and Smart. I mean, we hear about how, Tatum says, oh, I kind of lead in my own way, or, and maybe that doesn't mean him being as vocal, but I mean, look, this is probably, I'd say this is definitely would you say this is the most turmoil that Jalen and Jason have had to face in their careers so far, at least,
Absolutely.
I mean, if we think about it,
it's close. They like that year where Kyrie was like, I'm staying with the Celtics. Like, absolutely, I'm gonna resign, to this crazy fiasco of will he, won't we? Like there was reports of Rozier and Marcus Morris being upset. Like that whole season where they thought, oh, this is gonna be like famously, Bill Simmons said it was gonna be a 67 win team and it ended up being not even close. That was a tough season. So this is that. So this is definitely gonna be a new age for them. So I will say that I'll only bring that up just because this is probably a whole nother level. This is Udoka as a whole. Udoka goes beyond basketball. That's for sure. But the fact is that these guys are, they're super young for the NBA stars. Like players used to get drafted after their fourth year of college. So these guys are like 24 and 25, but they're an experienced 24 or 25. So they won't be easy, but they have more. They're more. They can walk through this better than I would say the average NBA star, NBA player at least.
Okay,
just because
that's a fair take, definitely. Because it's funny, Matt, you were saying how you expect them to be a top 4. Is this the time without Rob you expected to be at like a top 4 seed in the East, or is this like the whole season you were talking about?
I was thinking the whole season, like come to playoff time, we can get a top 4 seed. I still think without Rob, we can be in that area. But I don't know what we do for bigs, because Horford's old, Tice is old. I feel like
no Tice.
We have no front court or wing depth right now.
Am I dumb?
It's Cornet is your backup center right now. Ooh. So right now I'm checking out.
That's terrorism.
Okay,
I'm checking out the Celtics depth chart, and it's in the starting lineup was Horford and Williams, but Horford and Robert Williams, and your bench power forward was Grant. So now Grant has to start to your power forward. Horford moves to center.
We're gonna see a lot of small ball this year.
Yeah, we are.
And then
but still Cornet Noah Vonleh. Noah Vonleh. He's back in the Celtics. I don't know if he's back. No, he's fourth time in the Celtics, but
yeah,
he has potential at one point.
Do you think we're gonna see like small ball lineups with like maybe Tatum at the 5 and like a 3 guard lineup or something like that?
Tatum at the 5.
Not the 5. Okay, not the 5. That's the 5. We'll definitely see him at the 4.
Well, he always at the
maybe
4.
Grant as a small ball lineup or something.
Grant according to
small ball
the
five.
NBSPN, and I agree, is the Grant is in line for a center role. He's the fourth. In the ESPN has Rob Williams when he's healthy, Al Horford number 2, then Luke Cornett, then Grant for center. And I honestly probably see that Grant is gonna get killed by some centers, but the guy's a heavy 6'6". He's 230. He's 6'6", but he's 236. He's a strong dude. He'll I don't know. I think when this I think it's gonna be messy, but I guess I'll transition to my next point. Sorry, is that I think is that the guys like Rob Williams for other teams would be a death sentence, but I think we all can agree is that it's the start of the season, not the playoffs. He's not. You don't know if he's injured in the playoffs yet. He could get injured a second time, God forbid. But he's healthy for the second half of the season, and then we have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. So like, yes, I think the expectations was super high, top 3 seed. But I think it was a team that can get in the playoffs without Rob Williams and without Udoka, just because we're that talented.
Yeah, no.
So we can get there. It just once we get there, but how we get there is going to be the tricky question.
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, considering how the last couple weeks or literally last week has kind of, progressed here. I think you're just surviving, doing the best you can until you get Rob back, and just trying to be 100% for the playoffs, and then seeing what you can do there. That's pretty much just the goal for the Celtics right now. I mean, I'm going to give them a little bit of leeway to start the season because I think it's definitely going to be tough. Starting, with a new coach. I mean, even though he's an assistant, it's still a huge responsibility.
For sure.
When you're sitting like 2 seats over to the left, that's a big role to fill. So I still have faith in the boys, obviously. I think, but yeah, like I said, I think, just trying to make it until Rob gets back, seeing how the group looks when fully healthy, at least almost fully healthy, but and then kind of just progressing from there.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they, I don't want to wish this on them. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped like a 6 seed or something like that, honestly.
Yeah, and
it could be very
be
possible.
Out here stressing. I wouldn't even stress because it's just it's such a shitty situation that we've been thrown into with the no Udoka, no Gallinari, and the Rob surgery. Like Celtics fans, I think this year, and I've mentally already prepared myself for it. We need to be prepared for like not coming out of the gates looking like a team that was just in the finals. And I think the way Boston fans are, they're so reactive. You go to Celtics replies after games and they're like, fire Udoka, get rid of Tatum, fuck Jalen. That's how they are. That's just like Boston sports.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be a less reactive fan base this year because from what was going to be this perfectly balanced title run, it looks a whole lot different now. And I'm prepared for a slow burn of a season, and I'm just like, I'm prepared for that. And I think Celtics fans have to potentially get buckled in for that too.
And we've seen teams go fall even without the home court advantage. I mean, like it's not a great example because the Cavs kind of coasted, but the Cavs famously probably like a 5th seed, 6th seed with like LeBron, and it was the year Atlanta Hawks were the 4th seed, and the Atlanta Hawks were like, everyone was like, the Atlanta Hawks the 4th seed, and there's no chance they win the championship because the regular season was the regular season, and the Cavs still had LeBron. And I'm pretty sure I don't think the Cavs won the championship, but if they did, they won the championship when they faced the Warriors because that was literally the case for like 5 years in a row. It felt like, if not literally. So honestly, like the Celtics, for every Cavs, there's also the Nets who snuck into the playoffs, the 7th seed, and one of the most talented 7th seeds in the world, and then got swept. So yes, but honestly, we've all seen this roster. We know what Rob can be once he gets healthy, and we all are kind of. I would say that it's more likely to be a 6th seed than a 4th seed, much more likely. So if I'm a 6th seed, I'm still. I think as Celtics fans, we're still we should still be really happy because again, this is a really good team, and this is a team that is going through trauma at the start of the season. So if we're bad at if we're not a great seed at the end of the season, that doesn't mean that we're a bad seed. That means it probably means we start off badly. So I think
right.
Like I said, this is gonna we'll kind like yes, you can't fast forward to the playoffs as a player for sure, but as fans and maybe I'll eat my words in, but most we all expect the playoffs to be the playoffs. I mean, literally, it's half the teams do it. Eight out of 15 on each side. So I think more likely than not, we'll at least get in there. And the question is, is that once we're there, how healthy are we? And if we're healthy, I think sky's the limit.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add. That nailed it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the shitty part is, we're looking to try to reduce Horford's minutes, especially Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
For sure.
So now it's kind of like where because they haven't really signed any, as of now at least, they haven't signed any of the free agents that are available on the market. We had talked about Carmelo Anthony.
Previously.
No one else really. I mean, in terms of centers, I know there's Dwight Howard and Boogie Cousins, not stellar options, but
no, indeed.
Again, we need warm bodies at this point, I feel like.
For sure.
Because you don't really have anything to lose, especially for vet minimums. So it's just I don't know where the team is going to go in terms of that, in terms of trying to reduce minutes, because as we saw throughout the playoffs, we do not need to play Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum heavy minutes throughout the season,
right.
Especially Al Horford, because we don't know what's going to happen with Rob. I mean, Rob's always a wild card, in terms of injury. So that's really my concern as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in other episodes. It's not the depth is not going to be the depth of this team, and how much depth is not going to win you the playoffs on its own, because it's gonna the depth and what we'll see the Milwaukee had years where they're the fourth seed, top two team with Giannis, and they got bounced before the finals because they were still playing Giannis 30 minutes. It was crazy. And in the year they finally win it, they play Giannis 29 minutes per game in the regular season, which is ridiculously low, and they play him normal 36 in the playoffs, because that's what a team with a ton of depth does, is that it saves your players from minutes. And we're used to as fans, and these players are used to, is they get those minutes get shortened real fast, because we get injured, because we've been able to injury Celtics pretty fast. They call us the hospital. Something called the hospital Celtics or something.
Hospital Celtics, yes, sir.
Yeah, and then so we're behind the 8 ball right now, because we have 2 injuries already, and now we were hoping to save these guys, play them less minutes of the season, and they're already behind. They're already injury prone. So that is sucks. Not to make it not end in a negative note, but it will definitely. I think what we'll see is we'll see some acquisitions in free agency or trades with. I think if we didn't already, we will get a disabled amnesty for Gallinari, because he can't play on it at all. So I think we'll like we said, we need warm bodies, we need new players, because we can't play 40 minutes on Tatum and Brown for the entire season.
Y'all see Jay Crowder's on the market again?
Not Jay opposed to
interesting player.
I don't know if you guys saw Shams tweeted the Phoenix Suns and Jay Crowder mutually agreed that the veteran forward will not participate in training camp as the sides work on a trade. I'm not opposed. I don't know how they'd really get him. I think because of salary, and you'd have to give up a player. Maybe
I don't know how much he loves Boston.
Yeah, he's probably also maybe doesn't have strong feelings towards Boston after they traded him for Gordon Hayward, or when they got rid of him when Gordon Hayward came. But
yeah.
I mean, that would be nice, definitely, though, to get someone who's a backup wing, can fill in the 4 spot. Definitely has definitely has a lot of grit in him as well. I mean, Boston fans, we love Jay Crowder, so
yeah.
But I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was funny. He even like
that is interesting.
He tweeted something.
He tweeted like, "I'm out of here." He was something. That's the. I think that's the edge with Jay is that he's a vocal to the point of like he clearly say he doesn't want to be here, and
he tweets in all caps. He's one of those. So yeah, he said his tweet 3 hours ago: "One must seek work where he is wanted, where he is needed. I am thankful for what these past few years have taught me. Now I must take on another challenge with continued hard work and dedication. For those of you who close the door on me, thank you. 99 back soon."
Yeah,
in all caps. Don't forget that.
Yeah, I mean the guy, and yeah, I mean that's like a mic drop moment, but it's coming from a guy who's like a six man, like that, like he's just. I mean that's just Jay Crowder, like we kind of get those, like we get like we see those rarely, and when they do, we see it from like guys that are like, I'm done, I'm not leaving, I'm a star player. Like Katie didn't do that, but he might as well have done that. But that's Jay Crowder for you. He breaks the mold.
Yeah, I think the issue with him, I think he wants like starting minutes or something with the Suns. Probably. And I don't think they're trying to give him starter minutes like that. No. So I don't know. But yeah, a lot of questions to fill in with this team right now. I mean, in a year we're supposed to be coming up with championship aspirations, or at least, making it out of the East again. Things are kind of up in the air right now.
Sure.
This goes back to what we said on the first episode. Finals runs are never guaranteed. Matt and I said championship or bust, before.
No, it's different now. It's different.
It's different. On the last podcast, I kind of reined back a little bit and saying, I believe this team can go far, but nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
But yeah, things are a lot different now. It's going to be survive until Rob gets back, adjust to the new coach. And we're going to have to see how much these guys improved over the off season. I've seen some clips and, photos of them in the lab and everything. And we got to see also how, maybe the Brogdon thing works. I mean, with extra ball handling, I mean, I'm still excited about that signing. Pray to God he doesn't go down, or somebody else important, because just fucking make the tombstone. But
yeah, a lot of question marks, but we I think we all kind of agree is for a team that has a lot of question marks, we're pretty good. There's definitely, we could have been the Lakers who was an injury prone team and missing the playoffs. That's a thing that happens, and we're an injury prone team who consistently at least performs. So, for a team, like we said, a lot like for what it could have been, it's not. It could have been a lot worse.
Definitely, but let's not forget, this is an extremely important year still, in my opinion. And most people's opinions, but let's not forget, this is Jaylen Brown's last year on his contract.
Yep.
Trying to figure out that.
We don't know where his mind is in terms of if he wants to stay, or if he wants to see if he can go somewhere else and maybe be like a more primary option on a different team or something. So
we'll have to dedicate a whole episode. We might, for viewers, we might dedicate a full episode to literally just talking about, trade prospects and signing prospects and what we get and what we can do to replace him, or if we don't, what it'll look like if he doesn't. So definitely something to keep an eye out.
Scary thought.
Scary hours.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But I think we discussed pretty much everything, because we didn't have to go into much of the Udoka stuff, because there's just tweets after tweets after tweets of just rumors and speculation.
You can only speculate so much.
And Celtics fans, or people in general, the whole bullshit with posting women's pictures online of who it possibly could be. Yeah, knock it off.
So fucked up.
Stop the bullshit.
Yeah. No. Listen, Brad Stevens said it himself. Just people who internet. If you're on the internet, show your face and then say this is words. If you really want to do that.
I hope the women who were, pointed out or whatever, got at least like a few days off from the workplace or
Yeah, for
something
real.
because they deserve it. Because Jesus, people are just such fucking losers.
People are the worst.
Oh my goodness. But I said everything I needed to say in both situations. I don't know if y'all feel the same.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
Of course. If you guys are listening, we appreciate you very much. And thank you again. I did want to give a shout out to Nick Zuias, who actually made our new Celtic
shout out
the Lucky Clover podcast logo. Yeah, as Matt said, that shit's hard. I like it a lot. Thank you, Nick. Definitely. I didn't ask him to do it either. He just wanted to do it. So
that's fire.
I really appreciate that out of you. And if you are listening, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Hopefully there'll be some better times for the Celtics coming up soon. We got training camp starting tomorrow. Well, not training camp, media day specifically. Tuesday's training camp. But after media day, we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. I'm sure the players are going to get asked about the Ime thing 50 million times. I feel like the Celtics should have made some type of statement or something that we're not answering any questions on Ime at the time or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they do that, but we know we're going to see that. But we'll have more coming for you this upcoming week after training camp. First preseason game is next Sunday, actually. October 2nd, I think. I don't know who they're playing, but I do know the first preseason game is next Sunday. So we'll get to see Celtics hoops soon. We'll get a little taste of what the Celtics look like. Maybe see some new bags from Jalen and Jason.
Yeah.
See how they've been progressing over the offseason. So, season's starting up real soon. Very excited about it, regardless of the recent developments. Thank you again for listening. We appreciate you guys, and we hope you have a great day and, of course, a great week. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.